took a little while to get there, but the Belgian Grand Prix finally got underway. It was rain to start with, but it fizzled out into a dry race. It was Oscar Piastri winning, beating Lando Norris. It looked like there might be a split strategy going on with the two drivers opting for different tyres, but ultimately Piastri won quite comfortably in the end on a drying track after a delayed start to the race. Ludo Van Denderen is there for GPBlog. And Ludo, did you manage to stay awake through this, or were you happy to see Oscar win?
Well, it was a really boring race. Let's be honest. After the start, not really much happened. 20 cars came up to the finish, and there was not much action. There was not much overtaking in this race. We were talking to some drivers, and I'll give you an example. Ollie Berman only got one question because nobody had any idea what to ask the drivers after this race. No stories. It's just an Oscar Piastri win, which he did pretty well, by the way. He just managed to pace, and he knew how to get Lando at the start. But for the rest, I think this is not going to be a legendary Belgian Grand Prix.
It's one of those weird ones where we had no yellow flags, even though it was raining. I was expecting a few safety cars or something, and it just didn't really bubble up into anything. But we did have a little bit of dispute over the radio right at the start, because it took about 80 minutes before we actually got the cars on track after a formation lap was abandoned. And the world champions are complaining about the fact that we weren't starting the race earlier. What were the words of Max Verstappen? I heard Lewis Hamilton having his complaints over the radio.
They were kind of frustrated today because, they knew they had a chance of a good result when it's the rain and the great equalizer. And when they were thinking and looking at the track, they thought, okay, it's a little bit raining, it's a little bit wet, but it's not that wet that we can't drive. For instance, Max said after the race, if this is the new Formula One, we can also say, we just wait until it's dry, get on slicks and start racing. This is not a rain race anymore. And I think Lewis said similar things. He also wanted to go racing. Also, yeah, because they know without the rain, they don't have any chance. And Max Verstappen I knew that also, because now he was stuck behind Charles Leclerc. Overtaking is pretty hard here on this track. So for them, not much to win.
It worked out for McLaren, I suppose. They didn't have that much to worry about with the drivers falling off the track like we've seen earlier in the year. Australia comes to mind in particular. Were they quite happy with the way this all ended by not going racing earlier?
Yeah. They were very happy, in the press conference. They got the same questions as in the media pen. Shouldn't we have started earlier? And all three drivers said, no, well, this is perfect because now we can't have any accidents and visibility is okay. We as a drivers just asked after Silverstone 3 weeks ago, be a little bit more conservative in this. So they were very happy, and I totally understand, because when you're in a Champions League battle between Lando and Oscar, you don't want Max Verstappen interfering during a rain race. You just want a clean fight. So I understand their position, but not everybody thought about it.
Well, let's go into somebody who might be looking for that Max Verstappen victory. Got one earlier in the weekend, but not on Sunday where it counted. But Laurent Mekies has got his first race weekend under his belt at Red Bull Racing. And how was his thoughts on this? Because I guess it looked like Verstappen wasn't necessarily going to be for the win, but he certainly could have got a podium based off the speed we saw earlier in the weekend.
Yeah, exactly, because Red Bull did a very offensive setup because they were expecting a rain race. Eventually, there was rain, said Laurent Mekies, but we didn't have a rain race. So they were wrong with the setup in the end, and that's what's annoying him a little bit. In general, he was very happy with the weekend. For him, it was more like getting to know the team, getting to know the people. He was in the factory 2 weeks ago, but this is the race team, different people. So he had the chance to meet everybody, talk to everybody. And his idea was this, it's a great group of people, very talented, and we're going to have some results. Don't forget, yesterday they won the sprint race. So it's not a totally lost weekend.
This might show our age a little bit, but I remember some crazy races in the wet years gone by, and not just thinking accidents, just really, really brave overtakes. I mean, you can think about where you are right now at Spa, and even after the iconic, or infamous maybe is a better word, 1998 race with a crazy start, the race itself was still very entertaining afterwards. Is Formula One just not going to go back to this at this point, Ludo? Because it does sound like it's a bit too, like you said the word earlier, conservative.
Yeah, I think so. I think Formula One is going back to it on certain circuits. I think the problem here was it's Spa, and where we have the route Radion, the water is not getting away from track. So I understand that were perhaps the conservatives. We had the deadly crash in the rain with Antoine Hubert a few years ago. So it can be chaos. So I think that's behind it. I talked to Mario Isola this morning, by the way. the Pirelli boss, and he thinks in a normal rain the cars could just drive. The thing is here just the track, and so hopefully when we're in Spain or Hungary, there we can have a rain race. But by the way, next week we're going to go to Hungary. It's going to be very hot there, so no rain race there. But probably it can. But yeah, here we're a little bit conservative, as you said.
Yeah, well, you never know. I did have a little look at the Hungarian, the Budapest weather forecast. It said there might be a chance of rain, but this far out, I'm not going to have my hopes up. 3 rain races in a row as well would be quite something. We'll be going to Hungary, of course, in a week's time, where the championship battle will continue. Oscar Piastri extending his lead a little bit, with the McLarens looking oh so dominant this season. Can something change when we get to Hungary? It's a race where some of the existing champions have had so much success in the past. We'll see if anything can upset the McLarens when we get there. But Ludo, you've brought so much for us this weekend. Thank you for everything you've brought to us, and thank you everybody else for watching.